Okay, guys. So in previous video, we discussed about the difference between arrays and list, different, the basic operations we can perform on list, which we cannot on arrays. So, like we discussed about the operations like adding the elements into the list, then checking the size of the list, then inserting a new element into the list, then removing the element from the list, then checking for the existence of an element into the list, index of to check whether at what index the particular element is present in the list, and also retrieving the element at a specific index. Now let's talk about retrieval of all the elements from list one by one. I want to traverse. Okay, so there are two ways to traverse the list. One is using a normal for loop, and another one is using with the help of advanced for loop, or we can call that loop as for each loop as well. Now let's understand both the loops. So first let's understand a normal for loop. So I'll say int I equal to 0. Why this I should start from 0? Because our indexing in the list starts with 0. So we want to retrieve every element from the list. Okay, that's what we are going to do. So I0, I is less than. Now till what I want the I, like I want to take the I until it reaches to one number less than size. Why one number less size? Because let's say the list has 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 elements, but the last index is going to be 6 because indexing starts with 0 and our I also starts with 0. So I want to take that I until it becomes 6. So size less than, I can say I less than equal to size less than 1, or I can say I less than size. So let me put it. So I'll say names list dot size. So this size will return me 7 and I less than 7. So when I will become 6, the loop will execute. When I will become 7 is not less than 7, hence it will come out. So it will this loop will execute until I is reaches to that 6. So 0 1 2 3 4 5 6. So for I's value 0 1 2 3 4 5 6, loop would be executed, and now I am incrementing this I want to print, or I want to retrieve the element. So I'll say names list dot get. So get is a method in list, so which accepts the index and it gives us the element from that index. So let's run this. So this is the normal loop. We can use this loop for retrieving the data from string or any collection for that matter. So we can see we got when I starts with, from 0, so the first element from it we got. So actually the printing starts from here and not from here. This project is the output of this line number 38, but we are talking about the code of line number 40 and 41, which starts from here. So we have the first element as Pranodaya, that is 0th index Pranodaya, 1 index Pranila, 3rd index Parag, 4th Dilip, then Rajesh, Likita and Prajakta. So we got these elements printed one by one with the help of this names list dot get of I. So I starts with 0. So it first returned me the element at 0th index. Then I became, so with this I plus plus I became 1. So I got names list dot get of 1. So which is nothing but this, and 2, and this return me the element from the second index, which is nothing but this. So likewise we could print all the elements, we could iterate over all the elements. But there is a problem here with this loop. Problem in the sense, like I have to take care of starting this loop from the correct index, that is 0. This condition also I need to check, like just to decide on until when I want to continue executing this and printing the the elements. I need to increment the index as well, so that I can move ahead in the iteration here, right? So these are like, if I want to retrieve an elements from the list one by one, all the elements one by one I want to retrieve, then I need to write these 4 statements. You guys can see the starting, then condition checking when you want to stop, and incrementing. So these are 3 statements, and for retrieval purpose from that index, right, you have to write dot get names list dot get. So total 4 statements we need to write. Now there is a shortcut loop available, so that is called advanced for or for each loop. Let's understand that now. So I'll say string and names list. Yeah, so what is this loop? This is called for each loop. How to read it? How to read this statement? So this is like, for each string n in names list, meaning we have got all the names or all the strings in this names list, right? Now I want to fetch every string. I want to fetch every string from start to end and say print, right? So instead of getting into writing these 4 statements, what I'll do is I'll simply write this particular statement. This particular single statement is equivalent of these 4 statements which we just talked about. So how it works? So for the first iteration of the loop, it takes the first element from this list and puts it into this n variable, right? So in our case, in our list, we have got this Pranodaya string and at 0th index. So this is the first, second, third, fourth, like that we have the elements, right, or those strings. So first iteration, this will in the first iteration of this loop, I'll get the first element from this and I'll get it here in this n, and then I'll just simply say I want to print each element, so I'll say n. Now in the second iteration, what this statement will do, it will first check whether there is an element present in this list to be traversed or not. Then only it will come inside, otherwise it will come out if there are no further elements. So second element is present, so it will take that, give that second element from the loop into this n now, and the loop iteration or the loop execution would be done with that value in this n. So I am just printing that n, so that will again get printed. So third iteration, so it will first check, this statement will check whether there is the third element to be traversed or not. If yes, then that element would be given to us. So you can see here that for getting the element I am not doing anything. For checking or to deciding on how long should I go into that traversal, I am not doing anything. For starting also I am not doing anything. So once it will enter into the loop, by default it will start iterating over the list from the first element onwards, right? So with every iteration I would be getting a element from the list into this variable and I can work. So here we have the less efforts. Instead of writing these 4 statements, and like there are chances of we making some mistakes here while checking the condition, or let's say if I remove to do this I plus plus this, there are chances of this loop getting into infinite loops, right? If I do any mistake in while starting the indexing, so there are also chances of getting some bugs in our code, right? But here this is very simple. It will by default start from first element, and with every iteration of the loop we will get the element from the list into this variable, and then you can perform whatever operations you want to with the on that particular element, right? So if you want to traverse all the contents, now there is a point here, In case of normal for loop, you can adjust this increment by, say you want to increment by 2. So if you want to print every second element from the list, that you can do by doing I equal to I plus 2, right? So you can decide on the increment here, like by how many places you want to jump that index with every iteration of the loop. So you can do that. You can start at some random index also if you want. If you don't want to start from first, you want to start from somewhere from the middle, that you can do here, but that's not the option here, guys. This loop will always go sequential from start to end, right? So you cannot just manage any other order here in this loop. So this is important and useful when you want to iterate over the collection, the list in this case, from start to end with every element. You want every element from that list for every iteration, with every iteration of the loop. So if you have that kind of a requirement, so instead of using this, use this. But if you have some specific requirements, like you want only every second element, or you want to start from some index other than 0, you want to end at some index other than last. So if you have the specific kind of requirements, then go for this, our normal loop. But if you want to go from start to end with every element from the list in sequential order, start to end, then go for this advanced for loop, right?